Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations unto the elect. News and prophecy, reporting, linking the things happening right before our very eyes throughout the four corners of the earth. Linking those things to the Holy Scriptures, making sense of them so that the faithful elect, the remnant of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, all right, the 12 tribes scattered abroad, all right, primarily here in Babylon the Great, but scattered abroad, all right, even coming and looking like the heathen nations, those of you who are taking heed, repenting, calling on the names, acknowledging the 100% truth, all right, you are Israelites, and ultimately being prepared to be heirs to the promise that was given unto our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're in our final captivity, which is going to be marked by a very, very straight and dire situation on earth before we are exodused out of this new Egypt and the various different captivities where we are scattered. We're going to undergo some very straight things as our enemy, the biblical Edomite, and the heathen that are aligned with them are preparing a new world order. So they're bringing as much chaos as they can. We're witnessing the times that Habakkuk spoke of. All right, here in Habakkuk chapter 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come to pass. It will not tarry. And the prophecies are coming to pass. And specifically the things that are written in this very chapter, preparing you for what's coming in the next chapter, the third chapter, the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, as we see our people scoffing, mocking, naysaying, as the scriptures say, will come in the last days, mockers. But what we have on our side is the sure word of prophecy as these things are happening. No matter what people say, no matter, how many false Israelites you have doing things that are not prudent. All right. The true message, the new song is being sung. And by that, we know the end is coming, because the new song was given unto the servants, the prophets, to sing, which would speak the end into existence. And at the end, it was speak and not lie. All right. The words of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai have faced scrutiny all of these years, only to be true every time. All right. And we are witnessing our enemy, the sword of the Most High, ironically, which a lot of people can't get that through their head, that the Heavenly Father, even in other captivities, you go to the Assyrian captivity, the Assyrians were used as a sword. Right. It tells you in Isaiah, the 10th chapter, that the rod that was in the Assyrian's hand is of the Lord. All right. Now we're living under the modern day Assyrian, and he has more power. He has, more wealth. And boy, oh boy, we are witnessing some very, very crazy things. Every time you look up, it's just a crazy situation. It's a disaster. It's hard times, disparity. Every time you look up, Habakkuk 2 and 4, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And those of you who don't have the faith, all right, you're going to be swallowed up, all right, by the agenda that's coming by these demons. Okay. As the scripture says here in Isaiah 29 and 6, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise and with storm and with tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Okay. Everywhere we look. Okay. I'm going to start here. with this guy on End Time Headlines, which he's definitely watched the Israelites to, because now you have Christians going into prophecy, and we're not against that. All right. Although they can't really go into the scriptures and break it down, they report on things, and a lot of them are taking a play from the Israelites. They're watching our platforms, they're watching our videos, and they're adapting to the times because nobody wants to hear that love, the love this, love that, which love is a beautiful thing, but there's a time for love. There's a time for hate. There's a time for war. There's a time for peace. Clearly, we're not in the times. All right. Although love is the fulfilling of the law. This whole, aspect of presenting God as this, all loving pet you can just, pull out of the closet when you, do some wickedness, or when nah, man, the Most High is not at all to be played with. He is to be feared. And our people are going to learn. Okay. Our people are going to learn, man. So the Christians are trying to adjust, and because people want to know what's going on. A lot of people are in fear. So these are the type of videos, even if you look at my channel, the videos that get the most views are going to be the news videos on the on brothers channels. You go into the news, or a brother do an algorithm, a brother goes into the current events. Everybody's looking, even people who don't believe, because they're looking at the world before them, and it's a mess. It's crazy.
People across the nation are asking the same question. What in the world is going on? We are seeing extreme flooding that's taking place in North Carolina, in Texas, in Chicago, and even in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a once in 500 years, once in 1,000 years, once in a lifetime floods again. We're seeing this happen again, and people are scrambling for answers. They're asking why, what's behind it, who's behind it, is this normal, is this natural?
See, we're living in a time now where people are, they understand that even natural disasters, all right, can be, put forth by the elite. Okay. We look at all of these storms. All right. And now people are like, well, wait a minute. Is this natural? Well, ultimately it fulfills prophecy. But again, we're living under the devil. Again, what does it say here? Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, meaning he's going to operate in a very demonic fashion, man. He's not upright. OK, let's get the book of Psalms 144. All right. Psalms 144 and 11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand, your right hand represents your righteousness, is a right hand of falsehood. See? Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, man. As the scriptures say, the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay? Psalms 17 and 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the wicked, all right, is used by the Most High for the purpose of, fulfilling prophecy, punishment, judgments. And the wicked have been blessed, as the scriptures talks about, with miracles, the ability to manipulate the weather. Right? Did you hear what he said? People are wondering. Let's go back. Listen to what he said.
100 years, once in 1,000 years, once in a lifetime floods again. We're seeing this happen again, and people are scrambling for answers. They're asking why, what's behind it, who's behind it, is this normal, is this natural, is this supernatural, is this weather modification? Well, today, and then on top of all that, with all the extreme weather events, we've got seismic activity that's picking up, both in the United States of America and in Japan. Could we be on the very precipice of another megaquake? Is any of this in the Bible?
It's absolutely in the scriptures. See, but people are wondering if this is weather modification. Now, before we get into some of these plagues, because these are plagues, just know, all right, this was sent to me some years ago, all right, that they have patents, Okay. Weather modification patents. They have patents on particular storms. You see the names of them: Windy, Jackson, Katrina, right? These are through the spirit. We believe, some of them are natural, but a lot of them are ultimately manufactured. How do you have a patent, okay, on the storms? All right, here in Texas there was just a flood, and before the flood, all right, it's been talked about that Rainmaker CEO speaks about cloud seeding in Texas before the floods. Let's see here.
My gosh, no.
And we'll get into the floods, but the CEO of cloud seeding company has spoken about the organization's work after a series of deadly fast flash floods. All right. And we have a few other things on it, but you can look it up. Now, what is cloud seeding? All right. Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique. All right. And I'm just going by what they said. All right. I'm not saying that the storm was definitely, done by the wicked, but I mean, come on now. All right. We're living in some perilous times, dangerous times, man. They need as much chaos on the earth to create their order, man. So they have cloud seeding is a weather modification technique used to enhance precipitation, such as snow, rain, by introducing particles like silver and iodine into the clouds. Okay. And there you go. And it's being blamed for this storm. All right. Cloud seeding, goodness gracious, these damn ass. Look at this nigga, man. Cloud seeding, shoes. You look up a pair of shoes and every damn, they just, goodness gracious, man. I guess I'm bloated and I've been looking for shoes. God damn. All right. Cloud seeding is being blamed for deadly Texas flash flooding. But is it really true? A lot of these articles are saying no, it's fake news. All right. But I'm just showing you the reality of where we are. Okay. Yes, there are patents related to storm control and weather modifications, including methods for weakening hurricanes. So if they can weaken one, you don't think they can make one stronger? Okay. And you can look more into it. But again, yes, they have patents. It's open information on it. They have patents on particular storms. They have patents on weather modifications. This is the sword of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because what they're trying to do is basically play the Most High. Now, in the kingdom, all right, did you know in the kingdom, all right, because basically they're just trying to mimic, all right, the blessing we're going to have in Zechariah, the 14th chapter, right? Just to show you this, even in Revelation, the 11th chapter, real quick, speaking of the elect, Revelation 11:6, these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over the waters to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Okay, this is a blessing, all right, that the elect will have, and have. Some of our forefathers had it. Elijah, Moses, they were given that power, and that power is going to be given unto us, which ultimately through the word, we're speaking plagues into the earth, but the glory is only going to get greater. Okay, and in the kingdom of heaven, showing you this real quick, Zechariah 14, okay, and 16, and it shall come to pass that everyone that after that war, all of the heathen that are left, that is left of all of the nations which came against Jerusalem, shall even go up from 1 year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. All right. Just like, Christmas is shoved down your throat in this kingdom. Halloween, well, the Feast of Tabernacles will be shoved down the nation's throat. They're going to learn the laws. And there shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So we'll have the ability to bring, modify the weather in particular lands where heathen are. If they don't obey, right, we can plague them, right? And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all of the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord. Okay, yeah, and every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holiness. So ultimately in the kingdom of heaven, is foreshadowing, is letting you know that we will have the ability to manipulate the weather. And right now we're seeing a left-handed version of that. So can these particular plagues that we're witnessing, right, be brought about by the left hand? Well, that's up to you to discern. We're just giving you the information.
Into us some of these videos here. This one shot by a person named Charlie Rivers. Look at that. The water rushing past buildings and homes. You can see some of the debris there as well. Let me get right to Bill Karens. You hate to see this, Bill, as we are coming off of, the fourth day, now fifth day of that flash flooding in Texas. This is not, first of all, it's daytime. It doesn't look as bad, but help us understand the risk here.
All right, so we're in New Mexico. We're in the mountains. This is near the Lincoln National Forest. And when I first saw this video, I was like, oh, this is old. This is last year. I believe it's almost from the same vantage point, the same person.
Wow.
They had a flash flood last year that was very similar to this. I was just on their Facebook group for the community there, and they're saying that this year was worse than last year.
At least 3 people confirmed dead overnight, including 2 children, multiple homes destroyed. The mayor speaking with the National Weather Service.
And they were updating us constantly, which they've been doing every day since monsoon started. So that's why we were really caught off guard, because
now, this is in Mexico. We'll go back to that one. Let's go back to this video. I didn't even mean to bring that one out, but let's go here. Because that one in Texas hit hard. Hundreds of people are missing. You got people, on the recovery team. All right. Let's see here. It was one article I saw. Yeah, this man is hunted by, the screams of children, as they're trying to rescue people. So it's horror, man. Okay. Judgments. It's crazy. All right. That's why we got to stay prayed up, because one of these floods can hit where we live. Now, certain, places where camps are and brothers are being flooded. All right. But the Lord has it, he's delivered us so far from these particular floods. It hadn't hit any brothers, but, and if it has, even brothers who may not be GMS, you teach the right doctrine, but prayers up to you brothers, because things are getting ready to change in the earth. Again, the wicked, which is the Lord's sword, is at play with a lot of this. Okay. We're living in the time of judgment. Okay. Let's go back.
All right, let's go to Texas first. Fears are growing that the Texas floods death toll could surge. Now, this is, I want to give you the latest on this. The death toll of 110, and again, this is probably going to be outdated. By the time this gets out there, the numbers will probably go up. But as of the recording of this, the death toll is now 110 in the Texas floods. It could still surge as hopes begin to fade of finding survivors among the many reported still missing several days after the disaster. Again, listen to this. More than 170 people remain accounted for after the floods on the 4th of July holiday. Look at this, a tragedy that shocked many Americans.
To a Fox News alert, search and recovery efforts continue this morning in Central Texas as floodwaters begin to recede and expose the full scale of destruction.
Yeah, and at least 111 are dead and more than 170 are still missing as President Trump prepares to visit the region on Friday.
There's never been a wave like this outside of the breaking of a dam. It's just almost.
And after everything happening with this administration and how you're seeing these devils operate, the thing with Epstein, you can't trust nothing that these devils say, man. And it's all going to come out. The how demonic and wicked these people are. The only thing holding America together is lies and darkness. But see, this light is going to expose everything, man. And these people have so much blood on their hands, man. When you find out how corrupt and wicked these people are, you know, a lot of people just think on a surface level, oh, the government's wicked. But these people and the people that are behind these people, because a guy like Trump is really just a low level puppet for someone, you know, he's basically the CEO of the corporation known as America, or the president of the corporation known as America. But who owns it and who's really behind all of these technologies, these patents and the things that we just showed you a little bit of how deep this thing goes. This is not a regular wickedness that these devils are involved in, man.
Wave that ended up being 30 feet high. I'll be going down on Friday with First Lady, who will be taking a trip.
Brooke Taylor is live in Kerr County, Texas, and that is where we begin this morning. Good morning, Brooke.
Hi, good morning, Griff. Yeah, that death toll now at 111 people, and that includes 30 children here just in Kerr County. We expect, though, that number.
Now, a lot of people are talking about as well. Let's see here. These NOAA cuts, which this is the, you know, a lot of the NOAA, which that stands for right here, the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration, where a lot of these different, you know, floods and things are forecasted. Now, as I've done the research, you know, before the flood in Texas, they had hands on deck that warned of the flood. All right. That warned that, you know, the storms were coming. You know, a lot of people are reporting that, you know, due to the budget cuts, you know, they didn't have people there to report. But why would they cut? You know, what's going on here? Okay. What's going on here?
And so one of the things we know is that these kinds of circumstances are bad, and there's no other way to describe them. But God is good, and he works good in the midst of what's bad, because he is, in fact, good to us. And so the evidence of his goodness is his nearness, even in the midst of what is unimaginable.
The proposed NOAA budget, all right, zeroes out climate and tornado storm lab funding. Okay, the newly released budget calls for cuts to the NOAA, the document process, and giving no funding to the agency's climate laboratories and regional climate data. All right. And basically there's also cuts to FEMA, you know, when these, you know, natural disasters happen, supposedly, you know, aid and funding to help you, you know, won't be there as they were in times past. Now, there's another video I found on this. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Let's check this out.
They say after every tragedy, it is not the time for politics. But if you can't understand that politics are part of everything we do, it's because you're not paying close enough attention. Especially right now, as Donald Trump's cuts left NOAA and NWS down hundreds of scientists, resulting in a 17% reduction in weather balloon launches nationwide. Balloons being the single most important source of scientific data.
Now, as I looked it up, they say they were, you know, there were balloons. Because a lot of times too, just to be fair, a lot of these videos we watch and see is you know, there's a lot of propaganda, you know, people who just hate Trump, which, you know, we get it, and they'll put information out there and you run with it. So sometimes you got to do a little extra study, but it is true that he's cutting funding, all right, from these programs. And in the time where all of these storms and things are happening, you have to question it, things that make you, all right, go, you know,
as we predict the weather. And as we look at Trump's even deeper cuts to weather research in 2026, now is absolutely the time to understand what happened in Texas, so we know who exactly is to blame for this. So I spent the morning doing as much research as possible, and I connected with a meteorologist who understood what happened in Texas. He confirmed the opposite. NWS did prioritize balloon launches in that area. There was not a balloon launch missed because they were doing their jobs right. They did predict heavy rain, and they did issue flood warnings hours in advance. Because of their work, over 850 people were successfully evacuated despite this being a middle of the night emergency. Yet because this was in the middle of the night and because the local officials had not built in any kind of advanced warning system, no sirens and no alarms, we still ended up seeing a loss of life. Yet this is what Republicans are going to do because it's what they always do. They'll scapegoat the scientists at NWS and NOAA, just like they did with FEMA in the Southeast before taking $500 million to use for migrant camps in Florida, and they'll use it as an excuse to justify even deeper cuts to these critical scientific agencies. But in reality, Republicans have no way to spin this, because they're either complaining that NWS alerts were inefficient, only months after obliterating staffing and research at NWS, directly taking blame for this horrific coal-powered natural disaster, where they admit that...
So a lot of people are starting to question things. As a matter of fact, real quick, check this one out.
Residents are waking up, Jonathan, to yet another day of devastation following Friday's overwhelming storm.
Yeah, the numbers are unbearable. The death toll now rising to over 100 people, with at least 170 still missing.
Emergency manager awake at the time? Did they push the button to issue an emergency alert?
Sir, it's not that easy when you just push a button.
Did it happen here?
I can't tell you at this time.
Governor Abbott stressing the state was prepared.
Listen to
Who's
this.
to blame? Know this. That's the word choice of losers. Let me explain one thing about Texas. And that is, Texas, every square inch of our state, cares about football. The losing teams are the ones that try to point out who's
Now they're asking him about a flood. This nigga talking about football.
to blame. The way winners talk is not to point fingers.
It comes as records obtained by NBC News shows that Camp Mystic had an emergency plan in place. Texas officials signing off on it just 2 days before the floods. Meanwhile, we're learning more about the victims, including 9-year-old Lainey Landry, a Camp Mystic attendee. Her family's church posting a photo from Lainey's first communion. This photo showing one of the cabins full of girls that was overwhelmed. Several of the children now confirmed dead. Some young survivors sharing their stories, like 10-year-old Lucy Kennedy.
I woke up to like really loud thunder. I just had a gut feeling that something bad.
Joining us now live from Colorado,
Absolutely
Texas,
not.
is NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist. Aaron, what's the latest there?
Well, today is going to be another day of intensive search efforts for folks in this county and Kerr County here, as well as in other places around the area.
All right, so I just wanted to show you that, you know, they're being questioned, and you can clearly look at these people and tell something's up. All right, something wicked is going on. As the scriptures say, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7. Let's get that. Oh boy. Proverbs 26 and 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. See? Whoso hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation, man. So when he speaketh fair, believe him not, man. Never trust thine enemy. These people, I believe, through the Spirit, are up to something. Okay? So we are in treacherous, perilous times, man. I mean, goodness gracious. Let's just look at some more of the things that are going on in this video.
Because we knew it was coming in.
Texas, New Mexico, everywhere you're looking, there's just floods going on.
But it just intensified so quickly.
Oh man. Yep. The whole has been hot to it, yep.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my gosh, y'all look. Oh no. Oh no.
A whole house.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Damn.
Oh.
As rescuers in Texas search for survivors of the deadly flooding there, CBS News is learning the worst hit areas of the Lone Star State saw 12 inches of rain per hour on July 4th. For more on why this storm was so intense and so deadly. So as we see more of these events because of that extreme heat and extreme precipitation that you talk about, should we just expect these things that we like to call historic to be no longer historic, and that these sort of deadly storms could happen more frequently?
So we are already seeing in parts of the United States and in general around the world that the most extreme precipitation events, the heaviest downpours, are becoming even more intense. And extreme rain events and flash flood events that perhaps were rare historically are now happening more often. And we're also seeing events that exceed, in some cases, anything that we've seen historically.
The scale of the raging torrent that has swept through central Texas is only now coming into focus.
River levels are normally here. Now, this was 8 a.m. on Friday. By about 11 o'clock in the morning, it had gone from just under 10 feet to more than 29 feet. And it is not over yet. Texas is being warned of more storms in the next 24 to 48 hours. New footage has emerged showing how the tragedy unfolded as the Guadalupe River rose 8 meters in just 45 minutes, leaving many struggling to escape.
And there was screaming. There was so much screaming. It just started banging on doors, getting people out, and people were trying to get their belongings, and we're like, there's no time.
They were amongst more than 700 girls camping along the river to celebrate US Independence Day, when more than a month's worth of rain fell in just a few hours. And it was not just the Guadalupe that burst its banks. This was the San Gabriel River in Georgetown, about 28 miles outside of Austin. More than 850 people needed rescuing, but many did not make it.
Yeah, July 4th was marked by worldwide hail all over the world. Syria. You got a Texas flood. Look at this.
I mean, it's like a lake. There's not flood back there.
Turkey, fire. Weird weather patterns. Greece. All on July 4th. Your brother sent me an article. That's a highly Masonic day. Look at that. China. Flash flood. Venezuela. Russia. Damn.
Swathes of central Texas remain underwater, following flash floods which have devastated lives that swept away much of the campsites.
The power of the flood took everyone by surprise, sweeping everything before it in this deluge of water.
This morning, another terrifying and fast-moving flash flood in New Mexico. At least 3 people dead after waters rose in Ruidoso. This home in the mountain community ripped off its foundation and carried off by the water.
Oh, no.
We're cresting at a record 20 feet.
We are all backing down of the water's way.
The state's governor signing an emergency declaration. Roads closed throughout the area. This sped up time-lapse showing how high the water rose in a local business. The same mountain town was hit by a devastating wildfire just last year that killed at least 2 people and destroyed hundreds of homes in the area. Burn scars from that blaze likely exacerbating Tuesday's flooding. Heavy rains and extreme weather pounding other areas throughout the country, from the Midwest, where floodwaters rose in Chicago, to flood watches in North Carolina, already hard hit this week, and thunderstorms rolling in further up the East Coast, downing power lines. And once again throwing off the busy summer travel season, causing ground stops at several of the country's key airports. Over 8,000 flights delayed yesterday, as yet another day of wild weather sweeps the country, and another community recovers. And among the now confirmed dead, a man in his 40s or 50s, a 7-year-old child, and a 4-year-old child. This community still...
So is hell. Now, let's get this real quick. This is Wisdom of Solomon. 5 and 20, his severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Okay, let's get that in the GNT. Wisdom, Solomon 5 in the GNT. The regrets of the wicked, because these are judgments that come along with the righteous man standing in great boldness. Okay, verse 20, he will sharpen his stern anger into a sword, and the forces of nature will join him in battle against those who are foolish enough to oppose him. Bolts of lightning will strike right on target, as if the Lord had made a bow out of the clouds and was shooting arrows himself, basically. Hailstones will beat down on his enemies with terrible force. The oceans and rivers will come rushing over them in a devastating flood. Great windstorms will blow them away like a straw. Lawlessness will be the ruin of the whole world. Evil actions will cause governments to fall. Wow. See that? So plagues are a part of the judgment sent by Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, and he's going to use his left hand to do a lot of these judgments and these plagues that come forth, these natural disasters. Now, I wanted to get a few more things because I don't want to make this one too long because there's so much to get into, but I'll do separate videos. Wanted to get into this video. You can see the name of the account, Steve. All right. You can pronounce that last name. And Discover Ministries. Texas flood and blue rain predicted by American solar eclipses. Where will be safe in the end times? Now, this blue rain, I remember hearing a little bit about it, but you know, it's so much happening and you kind of, you know, get lost with the times and move on to the next thing. But Texas floods follow blue rain and $175 million smart city deals, weather weapons, or coincidence. Okay. Now, there were reports earlier this year of blue rain dropping in this in a few parts of Texas, mainly here where this flood was. So it says in March 2025, the city of Kerrville, Texas, now completely underwater, approved a $175 million power plant project. The same city that's been expediting smart city initiatives and digital government services. Now it's drowning under historic flooding that conveniently requires massive federal disaster and infrastructure relief rebuilding. Coincidence or the perfect excuse to rebuild with smart city tech using taxpayer disaster funds? All right. And this is someone posting Texas floods after blue rain. 7 state-run cloud seeding programs exposed. Historic flooding. Entire towns underwater and at least 24 dead, with many more missing, including children. And just months ago, Texans reported blue rain falling from the sky. Now here's what. Okay, let's check this out. See what this says.
Hey, we're camping in this beautiful state park in Texas, and it's been raining, and the water that's coming out of the sky is blue. And it's not this tarp, because it's happening on this tarp too. Look at that. This is crazy. Are they?
Now, could this just be someone, this is the internet. It's 2025. People will put anything on the internet. So you take some of this at face value. All right. But the whole cloud seeding, we showed you what it is, how they're pumping, all right, chemicals into the air, all right, for the purpose of testing. And, you can already see the articles are up saying cloud seeding theories, All right. Far right conspiracy theory on cloud, seeding. But the fact of the matter is that they were cloud seeding. All right. Before that flood came. That's a fact. Okay. That's a fact. Now, whether it's responsible for the flood, we can't say. Whether or not it's responsible for this so-called blue rain, I remember hearing a little bit about it, but who knows? Let's go back here real quick.
A chemtrail in us in Texas?
All right, now this is TikTok. All right, you know how brothers feel about TikTok. I mean, it's some good information that comes out, but it's a lot of BS. Okay. The blue rain that nobody talks about. Here's what they don't want you to know. Just months before this natural disaster, Texans reported blue rain falling from the sky. Not normal rain, blue rain. What causes blue precipitation? Chemical additives, which we know that they really do, use in weather modification programs. What happened next? The most catastrophic flooding in Texas hill country history. Connect the dots. All right. And this is Marjorie Taylor, her big head ass. I am introducing a bill that prohibits the injection, release, and dispersion of chemicals or substances into the atmosphere for the express purpose of altering weather, temperature, climate, or sunlight density. Now, we know that these devils do have a plan, all right, where they're also pumping chemicals in the atmosphere to block the sun, all right? That's fact, okay? Let's see. Okay, to combat G warming. Okay. See, these are all things you can look up as actual things that they're doing. Okay. UK scientists, Bill and Gil Bates was behind, he put money into this. Let's look it up here. And what they do is they pump particular chemicals into the atmosphere. So this devil is just destroying the earth, man. At the end of the day, I mean, it's really nothing more to see here. I mean, we see these floods. I mean, you could say, well, the technology presented and these theories have nothing to do with it, but come on now. All right. So controversial Gil Bates backed plan blocks out sun to reverse G warming. Warming is getting worse. They just tested a way to deflect the sun. The billionaire plot to block out the sun. So we know that they are pumping, chemicals into the air. So, let's go back here. Let's see here. Well, how effing convenient. Let's see here. In March 2025, the city of Kerrville, Texas, which is now underwater, approved of a $175 million power plant project. Kerrville just so happens to be expediting smart city initiatives and digital government services. Okay. The Weather Modification Act of 1967, legal weather warfare. You can look that up. If you find something on it, put it on the comment board. The Weather Modification Act of 1967 gives government agencies legal authority to manipulate weather systems. And they're going to go unchecked because at the forefront of this is who? The small hats. Okay, so these devils are operating. We're witnessing miracles right before our very eyes on the left-hand side. Okay. Allegedly. All right. Just put the dots together. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but come on now. Cloud seeding operations across millions of acres, chemical atmospheric manipulation for rainfall enhancement, coordinated. Remember, this is the devil that said, the trees are, the thought of more trees is a stupid idea. Your boy, Gil Bates. And they all have their hands in this stuff. Coordinated weather control programs between state and federal agencies, legal framework for what amounts to environmental warfare. It's not a sea theory. It's documented government policy. And we just showed you a few of the patents. Okay? Just a few. So this ain't a regular devil. This is a serious devil. This is a crazy devil. Blue rain chemical signature. Blue precipitation indicates specific chemical additives used in cloud seeding. Yada, yada, yada. And wow. So, hey, you can, see here. City Council approves 175 million power plant projection. Yep. So the very city that you see flooded, all right, some months ago, agreed to this plan. You can pause that and read it yourself. I ain't got time to read all that shit. Okay. So let's play a little bit of this video. And we'll roll out. Remember what the scripture said. The devil was going to come down with great wrath. We don't just keep bringing that out because it sounds good. We're witnessing it. We believe through the Spirit. All right?
It's shocking. They don't know the answer yet as to how many people, but it looks like some young people have died.
Hi, Discover Church family. You've now heard about the flash flood, torrential pouring down in Hunt, Texas, at a campsite where a lot of Christian girls go to, and a lot of people are dead and missing. Roughly 80 people dead and about 40 people missing. I'll give you the exact figures as of this time. But what's interesting that I haven't heard other people say yet is that place is exactly the intersection of the eclipses, the great American solar eclipses that I said would mark the next, catastrophe. So we had a catastrophe in Texas before it.
Now, if you've been watching, some of you are new. Was it last year? All right. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find it on my page. Let's see your videos. Left. See if we can get it. I believe. Boom. This was a video. So we reported on it too. All right. In the news, this was a year ago. The 3 eclipses that will combine to create a giant Aleph over America. All right. And when you look at the patterns of the directions of these eclipses that would take place from 2017 up to 2024. Okay. Solar eclipses. When you look at the pattern of it, it formed an Aleph over America. There was another one. All right. As you can see, it's also an X right there. It's also like an X form. There's an X here. There's an X there. Highly spiritual. We believe through the Spirit. So he reported on it, re-reported on it. All right. This was a video done a year ago. Okay. And you can check that out now. Aleph. All right. I know it means like the beginning, the head. All right. And we know Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. The kingdom is coming. All right. We pretty much, there's signs in the heavens. Okay. They basically, we tie them to the Holy Spirit and we're able to extract something out of it to present to the elect. Okay. And, you know, as you can see, there's a lot of comments. Okay. Jake with that Yahuwah stuff. You know, they were edified by it. So he's bringing it out here. All right. That this very place in Kerrville, Texas marked a particular point within, you know, these this Aleph being formed as well. So let's go back here. Let's go back and listen to some more.
Church family, you've now heard about the flash flood, torrential pouring down in Hunt, Texas, at a campsite where a lot of Christian girls go to, and a lot of people are dead and missing. Roughly 80 people dead and about 40 people missing. I'll give you the exact figures as of this time. But what's interesting that I haven't heard other people say yet is that place is exactly the intersection of the eclipses, the great American solar eclipses that I said would mark the next, you know, catastrophe. So we had a catastrophe in Texas before. Texas has been hit hard in Houston. Now we have another intersection very near San Antonio. So I want to show you this. If you just have a look on your screen and look at on the 14th of October, 2023, it was the annular solar eclipse that went right across San Antonio. And you can see in that location marker, that's where the Camp Mystic is on the map. Then you go over to the great solar eclipse. This one's the total solar eclipse that we all watched, the last one on the 8th of April, 2024. And you can see going intersecting the other way, you see Camp Mystic basically dead center. On the path of totality, just northwest of San Antonio. So I just crudely drew this, and I just show you on the 5th of July, 2025, at Camp Mystic, or in Hunt, Texas, this great flood came, and it took people by surprise. People are just reeling. How did it happen so fast? Right now, 78 people are declared dead, 40 adults and 28 children. 41 are missing, including 20 girls, which are, I would assume that they're from Christian parents, likely Christian girls at a Christian camp called Camp Mystic. God had warned through the intersection that something would happen at each of these intersections. I really believe it's going to be at each of these intersections, 3 locations in the continental United States. So if we just run the numbers, okay, we know that this particular judgment, this catastrophe happened 629 days since the 2023 eclipse, the annular eclipse. And then it's 452 days since the 2024 great total solar eclipse. So let's run some of the numbers. And these are just things that are hidden in codes. You can do with them whatever you wish or nothing at all. It's up to you. But I believe that God's speaking to us in many ways. And actually, the code is quite startling. So let me show you. First of all, we just run by a simple code, the code of Strong's Concordance. 629 in the Hebrew is...
So now these Christians are going into the Hebrew, the Greek, prophecy. Hey, we love it. We love it, man.
Osparna, which is the word fast or speedily. Is that interesting? How fast this thing came and speedily, we would say.
You see how this truth changed the world? Look, we were in those Christian churches and we were on YouTube when the truth first came on YouTube. All right, like that. I mean, of course, men have been preaching on the streets and the highways, but with this, you know, the Hebrew Israelites teaching the scriptures, going into the concordance, going to the blue letter, all of that, that started, you know, mainly with the Apostle Tahar. He's the one who, you know, presented the blue letter Bible to Israel, to us. But Christians weren't on the internet going into the Greek, the Hebrew. They were mocking us for going into the Hebrew, telling us we didn't need it. You know, now look.
629 in the Greek, Strong's Concordance, is apolutrosis, which is actually deliverance, redemption, or salvation.
But where are you Jake pastors at? Why ain't y'all going into this stuff? You got Pastor Jamal Bryant with his black ass on the Cam Newton podcast talking about you got some pretty legs, man. Complete sodomites. TD Jakes handed over his ministry. See if we can get that. Yeah, even the bees tired of people, man. There's a lot happening. But TD Jakes at the hardest, at one of the most, you know, detrimental times where leaders need to stand up, hands over his leadership to his daughter because he's trying to run from them Diddy allegations. Or whatever freakism he's involved in. You go hand over the ministry to your daughter and your son-in-law. Madness, man. The hell? Hell no. This is madness, man. You gotta get out of here. So, but the heathen preacher, look what they're going into.
Very interesting contrast. Speedily, deliverance and salvation. Let's run through the scriptures that have these words. In Ezra, we find in Ezra 6:12, it says that I, Darius, have made a decree. Let it be done with speed. That word 629 is with speed. In Ezra 7:26, whoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of thy king, let judgment be executed speedily. I mean, not only is the word meaningful to the catastrophe, but the very words of the king that was saying, hey, everybody has to do what God says. We now know the true God is the God of Israel. Whoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let the judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death, to banishment, to confiscation of goods, or to imprisonment. That's 629. That's what we're getting from 629 in the Old Testament. 629 in the New Testament is
So, all right, you can go watch that video if you want to. But as we just read here, Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, with thunder and with earthquake and with noise and with storm and with tempest and with great devouring flame and fire. Okay, let's get Luke 21 and 24. I'll start at 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth great distress of the nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Okay, let's get this in the NLT. And there shall be strange signs in the sun, the moon, and stars, and here on the earth the nations will be in turmoil, perplexed by the roaring sea. All right. And strange tides. Okay. The strange tides. All right. Tossing of the sea. You know, the crazy weather patterns, man. Men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after the things which are coming up on the earth. They're like Ricky Smiley. All right. There's a video, brother, you know, loaded up where Ricky Smiley he ain't smiling. All right, so we'll end it off there. You know, there's just all kind of animal attacks, all kind of strange weather patterns. As a matter of fact, we can end it off here in Revelation 11. Because our reward is coming, man. This world is finished. We just got a few more prophecies to go through. All right, and may the Lord be with us. Revelation 11 and 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy names, both small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Okay? And these devils are destroying the earth, man. I mean, everywhere you look, it's just madness going on. Okay? But, yeah. There you go. The scientists warn shortest day in history coming as Earth's rotation unexpectedly speeds up. The times are speeding up. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be back and report no more. Just wanted to get that out. I saw it. I was like, I may as well report on it through the Spirit. Hopefully I'll edify it on to the next. Shalom.